Hello everybody, Namaste. I assume most of you here are either thinking of taking the CELPIP test or studying for your test that's coming up in the next few days or weeks. Whatever the case it may be, I hope you'll find this video insightful. We are already at task 7 in the speaking test, and if you want to go back and watch the other videos, you can always visit our CELPIP playlist. And to make it clear, we would like to say that we're not affiliated with CELPIP or Paragon Enterprises in any way, in case some of you think otherwise. To start, in task 7, you have 30 seconds of preparation time, but you will speak for 90 seconds, which is one of the two tasks that require a 90-second response, the other one being task 1, where you're asked to give advice. Here, you need to give your opinion on a topic that's presented to you. To answer the question, we will use some of the techniques we've used in other sections, and here's the breakdown of the content of our response. First, stating the opinion, followed by stating the reason, explaining it, and then closing. Our structure looks pretty straightforward, right? That's what we're going to use to answer the question. And here's the sample question that we pick. We will come up with our response following the structure that we just saw. And the question is, do you think schools should ban cell phones? Explain your reasons. By the way, if you guys have any questions or requests, feel free to let us know. We may not be able to answer everything or fulfill all the requests, but we'll definitely give it a try. And if you want to contact us, subscribe to our channel and send us a message. Or if you like this video, as well as our previous videos, you can also give us a thumb up by clicking the like button. Now, let's start with our response. First, you will state your opinion. Because you're giving your opinion, there isn't a right or wrong answer here. What's important is that you explain your opinion in a logical way. That is what will give you a better score compared to some of the other answers. You will give your reasons, and don't forget to elaborate. When you state your opinion, paraphrase the question whenever possible. To begin, you can say if your opinion follows what most people think, or you have an opinion that may be the opposite of what others would say. If you agree with others, you can say, I think many people will agree with what I'm about to say. Or if you think your opinion is different, you may use, I'm afraid, contrary to popular belief. Or, if you're not sure of what others think, you can simply give your take on the topic. To state your opinion, here are some examples of opinion markers that you can also use. We can use I believe, I support the idea that, as far as I'm concerned, and so on. Try to go over these expressions and practice using different ones so that throughout the exam, you don't just repeat the same expressions over and over again. Following your opinion, use a transition to start talking about your reasons. Earlier, I mentioned that you should paraphrase when you can. So before we move on, let's see some examples of paraphrasing. So I have the question here. Do you think children should be allowed to choose what classes to take in school? A bad way to answer is just to repeat the question. I think children should not be allowed to choose what classes to take. Instead, paraphrase. Just like many other people, I would say, children are not ready to have the responsibility to pick what classes they should take. Do you think newspapers will be replaced by online news websites in the future? Here's a bad example. In my opinion, news websites will replace newspapers in the future. A better way would be, many people have predicted that print newspaper will become obsolete in the near future. and news websites will take the place of print media, and I agree with that view. One more example, with the question, do you think a university degree should be required to get a job? Don't just say, I guess a university degree is not required to get a job. Instead, contrary to popular belief, I have to say that a university degree is not a must in order to secure a job. Okay, after your statement of opinion, you need to provide reasons why you hold that view. I think 2 is a good number of reasons that you need to provide. 1 may force you to think of a lot of details, which may be hard to do in a short period of time, and 3 may be too long, and you may not have enough time to finish your answer within the time period. I encourage you to use a transition 2 when you move on to your second reason. Because we're talking about reasons, you need to familiarize yourself with linking words that indicate such relationships. Try to make a sentence using each of the expression here. You should practice these connectors with a variety of topics. If speaking is difficult, start by writing them down first. Let me show you how you can practice on your own. Here, we will use the same question we saw earlier about bringing phones to school. Because we're talking about cause and effect, we can use an expression like, if something, then something else. You can make a sentence such as, if students bring cell phones to classrooms, the phones will cause unnecessary distractions. With another expression as long as, you could say, as long as students have their phones with them in the classrooms, unnecessary distractions will definitely occur. Another one, it is because. It is because carrying cell phones to school will interrupt the learning process in classes. We can also use words like since, or we could say, given the fact that, as a result, for that reason. I don't need to read you all these sentences, but continue practicing until you feel comfortable enough using them. To support your reason, don't forget that you can give examples too. When you introduce your example, you can use some of these phrases. For instance, to illustrate, and so on. In the test, you will have a timer, so pay attention to how much time you have left. If you have less than 10 seconds, you can probably start your closing statement, and in this part, you can acknowledge the opposing opinion. By that I mean, express your understanding that others may think their idea also has positive values. Then, you can restate your opinion. To acknowledge other opinions, you can say, even though cell phones can be very useful in emergency situations, I believe, or I understand that, but after that, you may also include your expectation. You can say what you want others to do with regards to the situation. Before I let you guys go, I'd like to share a sample response based on the structure. Bear in mind that we're just giving you an example, which means there are different ways of answering the question. Blind memorization is not the way to do well in the test. What's important is you need to be logical and you need to provide supporting ideas. I often say to students that they need to discuss their opinions, not merely making a list of things without any details. Here's our sample response. I think many people will agree with what I'm about to say. In my view, schools should discourage students to bring their cell phones to school, and let me explain why I say that. First, cell phones are a source of distractions in the classroom. Students may play with their phones during the class rather than paying attention to the teachers. In addition, there are many occasions when a student's phone rings in the middle of a lecture. This certainly disturbs the teacher as well as other students. As a result, students cannot study optimally in school. Secondly, cell phones can cause unnecessary problems to students. Let me give you an example. Some cell phones are more expensive than others. When students see their friends with better, more expensive phones, they may be jealous. This may lead to students stealing others' phones, or they may discriminate each other because their cell phones can be seen as a status symbol. Students feel inferior when their phones are not as good as other students. This is especially true among young children. I understand that cell phones have many benefits, but I think students do not need their cell phones in school. I hope schools will introduce a policy regarding cell phones to maintain a supportive environment for students to learn. That's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you want to get an update whenever we have new videos for you. See you later!